Okay, good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Ms. Malone.
Thank you so much for coming. This is a really exciting event that I'm not going to do much talking at all. None of the teachers are going to do hardly any talking at all. Guess who's going to do all the talking? The students. Because what do we do here at Gomes School? We do a lot of project-based learning, and a lot of the learning is led by you, by our students, correct? So I'm just going to say a quick thank you to Mayor Mitchell for coming, for Counselor Gomes, to Mr. Josh Amaral for coming. Oh, Mr. Lopes, sorry, Council Lopes. What did I say? Council Lopes. And everyone else that came, the superintendent is on his way. Mr. Cavallo is here in the back. And I'm going to turn it over without further ado. Oh, I do want to say that this is a project that was done. Who here comes to the after-school program? Our 21st century after-school program? Well, I know all of you do, because this is a project that's done by our after-school program, which is an extension of our school day. And our after-school programming is funded through the Massachusetts Department of Education. So we are very grateful for them, and we are very grateful that we will hopefully continue our work with the Department of Ed to continue our after-school and school-time learning that we do with them. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to... Oh, Mr. Khazan, where are you, Mr. Khazan? He's in the back there. Here he comes. Let's give a round of applause for Mr. Khazan. I thought he was hiding out in the back for a reason. So we all know that Mr. Khazan is our guest of honor today in this presentation. This ceremony is all for him and everything that he's done for us here, not only in New Bedford, but for the United States and for civil rights in general. So thank you, and I'm going to turn it over to Kyle.
Good morning, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Mitchell, City Councilor members, Mr. Gomes and Mr. Lopes, Superintendent Anderson, Principal Lalonde, Assistant Principal Messiers, teachers, families, friends, and our very special guest, Mr. Jibreel Khazan. Welcome to Alfred J. Gomes School.
We are so glad that you are here with us today for this very special occasion. Your presence is so important to us, and we welcome you to the special ceremony to honor Mr. Jibreel Khazan for the Greensboro 4.
Thank you.
We are the Gomes ambassadors, and we are here to tell you who we are and what we want to achieve. We are an after-school group who is working hard to make positive changes in our community. We are funded through a grant from the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
We have multiple ideas on ways to help our community, like giving blankets to poor people, and we also want to expand our school garden so more people can get healthy food. We want to achieve a better community. Today we have here because we want to make a special day for Jibreel Khazan, who is a member of the Greensboro 4. My friends Anderson and Isaiah will tell you more about the Greensboro 4.
On February 1st, 1960, 4 college students in Greensboro, North Carolina, changed the world by one simple act. They sat down at a lunch counter at Woolworth's and politely asked for service. Their request was refused. In addition, they were asked to leave, but they chose to remain in their seats and sat peacefully until the store workers. These men became known as the Greensboro 4.
One of the most important results of this brave act was that students from across the South started to do the same to protest unfair laws. The Greensboro Four are important because they helped to make the world a better place. They stood up for what was right, and they helped to get unfair laws changed.
Thank you, Greensboro, for leading the way with your brave actions. Thank you, Mr. Jibreel Khazan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the leader of our city, Mayor Mitchell.
All right, good morning, boys and girls. Good morning. You guys are the best. You really are. This is wonderful to see, and there's a lot to be said today, and but not by me. I want to just offer a few words of thanks and congratulations, and words of tribute to my friend Jibreel, who you'll hear from a little bit later on. So first of all, I just want to commend you guys for doing such a great job in your readings. We got some more to come, but you guys are fabulous. Let's hear it for you one more time. Thank you for really putting effort into it. I want to commend Principal Gallant and the staff for putting together a really important project like this. We all believe in project-based learning as a way of getting children out of the textbook and getting their hands into something real and driving it and getting them to own it. And this is a great example, but it's also on a very important matter. And so I just wanted to say thanks to all of you and to the superintendent and everybody who has supported this program. There's a lot to be said about Jibreel. I mean, I pointed, he hadn't noticed the drawing of himself. He was like, who's that good-looking guy with in the middle there? But he is certainly worthy of our honor. He stood up at a time in American history where we needed heroes, and he will never call himself this. He's way too humble. But he is in fact that. He is a courageous man who we in New Bedford are lucky to have as one of our own. I like to think in a way, and he's going to hate this comparison, but his coming here as a civil rights leader from the South is mirrors in a way Frederick Douglass's coming here in the 19th century. And New Bedford was a really good place to live, in a place where people are accepted from everywhere. We're a welcoming place, and he'll be the first one to tell you that. New Bedford's a good place, and he's told me that time and time again over the years. But what we really, what I would offer all of you is this. There are many lessons to be drawn from the Greensboro Four, the lunch counter sit-ins in the early 60s, and the change that those actions catalyzed. It is amazing to think that in this man's lifetime, he grew up in a place where, because on account of the color of one's skin, you couldn't avail yourself of certain public amenities. You couldn't sit in certain places in restaurants. You had to sit in a certain place on the bus. You couldn't use certain water fountains, or as we call them here in New Bedford, bubblers. It is just astonishing that in America not that long ago allowed that to happen. And it's incumbent upon all of us to remember that. And this act today, this convening today, and the work that you've done on your project is a way of remembering, and a way of emphasizing, and a way of recommitting to what is right. The other thing I'd just offer up about Jibreel is that it stands, I think, in somewhat stark contrast to political discourse today, is that he had the courage to act on his convictions. What he did wasn't easy. In the distance of history, it seems like it all made sense. It was all sort of inevitable, but it wasn't. I mean, picture a time where African Americans, when they tried to do things like this, drink at a bubble they weren't supposed to, or sit in a place in a bus they weren't supposed to, they were subjected to all sorts of harassment, official through police, unofficial through angry white folks. And so doing what they did took courage, but the willingness to act on what one believes in is really important, and it's something that we can all draw inspiration from today. Everybody has opinions, right? So we watch the news, we look at social media. You guys are on, I don't even know what the latest one is. Who's on TikTok now, right? So, yeah, right. I don't even want to, we don't even want to know, right? So, but you get information from the world in ways that, you know, a lot of us adults couldn't have even imagined when we were growing up. But wherever you get your news from, or your input from the world from, you form opinions, right? And I think, you know, this is just me talking now, but I think there are a lot of adults who probably feel the same way. You know, one of the problems today is that sometimes we sit back and let the world sort of pass by. There's a certain passivity about the world. When we see things going wrong, I think a lot of times, you know, way too much in America nowadays. People just sort of think that, you know, the world of politics is like the weather. It just happens to you and there's nothing you can do about it. And the lunch counter sit-ins that Jibreel led are really a reminder that there are things that you can do about the world around you. It may seem daunting. You may have to, you know, you have to muster courage, maybe not as much as he did back then, and his fellow fellow protesters did back then. But it does take a decision on our parts to do something about the world we live in, whether it's at the national stage, whether it's at the state stage, or whether it's even in our city. And so I would just say to all of you, just think, when you think about what he was living through then and his example, there are ways that you can do the same in your own lives these days. And as you get older and as you start to think about the kind of world that you want to bring your kids up in, taking action makes all the difference in the world. And don't be afraid to do just that. So with all that, I have a proclamation. This is the 60th, this week marks the 60th anniversary of the first sit-ins that launched so much change in the South very rapidly. So here's my official proclamation on behalf of the city. So, and I think, maybe Councilor Lopes, I think we have a very similar proclamation. If you want to come up with your, we
have the kids write ours, so they're going to read it.
They're going to read it. All right, so I won't read it. I will leave it here. Jibreel, I'm going to leave this up here for you when you come up. Actually, why don't you come up and hand it? You can't stay seated for very long anyway. All right, so this is the first of several proclamations that we have for you today.
Yes.
The students will read them to you, so they are better readers than I.
Yes, sir.
Better to hear it from them than from me, but I wanted you to know just how much we appreciate you in your city.
Thank you very much.
No, there's going to be more.
Okay. Well, I think
Yeah, you can leave it there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Whereas Jibreel Khazan graduated from Bedford Resident in 1963, he found it difficult to find a job in his native hometown, Greensboro. Mr. Khazan moved to Bedford Resident in 1965, where he then became whereas we under the 21st century after the J. Gomes School Ambassador Group want to recognize Jibreel Khazan for his great actions in 1960 and his influential impact on the civil rights movement.
I think it's down.
Council President Joe Lopes and Councilor Gomes visited our school and spoke to the Gomes Ambassadors Group during 21st Century. They have assisted greatly in making this day become reality. Now let me tell you about when Mr. Gomes and Mr. Lopes came to our school to listen to our comments and our questions. They seemed like they really were interested in our questions. Some questions were about the Greensboro 4, and some questions were about homework in the school garden. They listened to us and answered each and every question. Later, we all took photos together, and our teachers were happy to put them on Facebook. Thank you for your help, Mr. Gomes and Council President Joe Lopes. Thank you for listening to us and helping us honor the great man, Mr. Jibreel Khazan. This day would not be possible without you.
On behalf of the Gomes School Ambassadors, we like to give you this special gift today. Thank you, Greensboro 4, for leading the way. 60th University Gomes School Ambassadors, February 2020.
It's bigger than me, thank you.
Mr. Khazan, if you wanted to say a few words, you're more than welcome to.
First, I want to say my prayer in the name of the life giver, the compassionate, the merciful, to whom all praises due forever and never. I am gasping for breath. This is totally, I didn't expect this. And there's a song we said in the freedom movement. It says, we woke up this morning with our minds set on freedom. We woke up this morning with our minds set on freedom. We woke up this morning with our minds set on freedom. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I want you to sing this song with me. We woke up this morning with our mind.
We woke up this morning with our mind
Set on freedom.
set on freedom.
We woke up this morning with our mind, Lord.
Woke up this morning with our mind, Lord.
Set on freedom.
Set on freedom.
We woke up this morning with our minds.
Woke up this morning with our minds
Set on freedom.
set on freedom.
Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Give yourself a great hand. Hey. Those are some of the freedom songs we sing. When people behind us, some people wanted to put water on their heads, some people wanted to beat us up, some people cursed us out, and some people just gave out a shout. I want you to know that my friends, Major General Joseph McNeil, who's still living, Dr. Franklin Eugene McCain, who passed about 4 years ago, but he has a connection to New Bedford. His son Wilford is married to a Cape Verdean sister from New Bedford. Did you know that? Yeah. Greensboro, Fort Franklin McCain's son is married to a sister from New Bedford and Wareham, all right? And then there is my brother, David Richmond. David Richmond passed about 20 years ago. David Richmond played basketball with Curly Neal at my school, Delta High School in 1956 and 1959. David Richmond was the state high jump champion, which I saw in 1959 in Greensboro. His record was held for 5 years. Nobody beat him. He ran to the pole and jumped like Superman over it. He called himself Hoppergrass. So David Richmond Hoppergrass. He even jumped out the second story window of my room and hit the ground and walked away like he was a grasshopper. Yeah, he wanted to jump off the third story building of the dormitory, but it was locked. So he jumped out of my window to prove that he was a hoppergrass. All right, you love David Richmond. And hundreds of other young people who join us. All right, there were children as young as 10, 11 years old who join our pickets times. I want you to know young people join us. Here, Mississippi, Alabama, all over the country. We appreciate everyone who joined in. I want you to think of these three concepts. Avoid evil, cherish goodness, and keep our minds pure. And the man who said that, his name was the Buddha, B-U-D-D-H-A. The Buddha taught his system for 32,000 years in ancient India. 32,000 years. There were people before him who taught these principles. He taught the principle of the mind. He didn't teach religion. He taught us how to use our minds properly, whether we were parents or on the street. So I want you one day when you get a chance to go on YouTube and look up the Buddha, B-U-D-D-H-A. He taught the mind. He taught the science of the wheel. Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel way in the middle of the air. And the big wheel runs by faith, and the little wheel runs by the grace of God. To the wheel, way in the middle of the air. So I want you to study the principles of the wheel. All right? There's 8 principles. You have time, you can look it up. And you will find out there may be a way for all of us, before there was Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. All right? These faiths always had war with people, making people slaves and everything. But the teachings of Siddhartha never talked about anybody being slaves or put down. He talked about, let us check out our minds. So study from the concept of your mind, because that's the most important thing we want to have. And I heard on television years ago, a mind is what? A terrible thing to lose. I think I lost my mind after the guy hit me at the lunch counter. But I dodged him, so he missed me. He hit himself by mistake. Can you imagine that? He went to hit me, he hit himself. Because I dodged like this. Right? Remember, whatever we start in the circle, it comes back to us. All right? Remember that when you learn those principles. Now, I'm going to get off the podium, but I want you all to sing one song with me. It's simple. It goes like this. Freedom, freedom, freedom's coming and it won't be long. That's all you have to say. I want my freedom and I want it now. Freedom coming and it won't be long. You want to sing that song? Yeah. Okay, here we go, here we go. Have I got the right key? Freedom, is that too high for the girls? No. Oh, freedom. Is that too low for the boys? Okay, we're gonna do it. Okay. You repeat after me. Freedom, freedom. Freedom, freedom. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom, freedom. Freedom, freedom. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. I want an A in my studies. I want an A in my studies. My freedom's coming and it won't be long. Love my parents and my teachers too. Love my parents and my teachers too. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. We love the mayor in the office too. Love the mayor in the office too. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom, freedom. Freedom, freedom. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Freedom's coming and it won't be long. Thank you. Bless you.
One more round of applause for Mr. Khazan. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, level 0. Thank you. So Mr. Khazan, we just want to say thank you on the behalf of the Gomes School. During school time and after school time, when you came last year for our Black History Month Assembly, you truly inspired our students. We here at Gomes pride ourselves on being safe, kind, respectful, and responsible, so we grow not just academically, but socially and emotionally as well. And you really sparked a change in our students, and they want to better the world.
I need to come to your school to get civilized.
Again, thank you to Mayor Mitchell, Mr. Khazan, Mr. Lopes, Council Lopes, Superintendent Anderson, and one of the best school committee members out there, Mr. Amaral. So thank you all for coming so much. We really appreciate it. And I can't end this program without thanking a few other special people. And I know my 21st Century OST ambassadors want to help us say a special thank you to Miss Valerius, Miss Lima, Miss Oliveira, and Miss Norales for really spearheading this change along with them. So thank you to all of you as well. And to Mr. Carrero, our very talented art teacher who drew that portrait of Mr. Khazan. It's so special. So thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it.